story, but there's also kind of an overarching mystery story throughout the series. Sorry, before this, we've graduated to sitting on the couch now and not in front of it. So my setup, everything is different. And I did not like how I was looking. I was literally sitting here for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before filming, just like tweaking a bunch of things, and I'm still not really happy with it. It's mostly the lighting. I think there needs to be more stuff back here, but anyways, sorry. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so getting to the conclusion was really good. We learn a lot more about Cassie, her mom, Cassie, the main character, and her mom, because you learned in the first book that her mom was like murdered and her body was never found 5 years previous. So that's like a thing that stretches through all of the books, and a lot of stuff ends up being connected, and there's just a lot of shit goes down, you know. I don't want to say too much of the plot of this because I think that will give things away, but also I don't really remember. It's bad. I remember like the connections and everything in this, but I don't remember what this book's specific like plot was. I will be honest, this wasn't my favorite of the four. I did kind of feel like I don't love how it was wrapped up. It felt very blunt, like it kind of just ended, but still obsessed with the series, still very, very good. Part of me thinking that it was gonna go on longer could be because, so I knew that there was a novella for the series. I had seen it on Kindle Unlimited, and I was excited to read that. And that's the only place I'd seen it. So when I got to about like here in this book, I was like, wow, like the climax just happened and things are like settling down. What else is gonna happen here, you know? Like it felt like things were wrapping up, and then all of a sudden here it ended, and here's the acknowledgements, yet there's still 150 pages left. So I was very confused. And then I turned the page, and the last bit of the book is the novella called 12. So that was really exciting, but I was also expecting it to go on longer. So Bad Blood ended very suddenly for me, but it was cool because this one book turned into two, because on Goodreads these are technically two different books, so that was kind of fun. So I also read 12. I rated, sorry, I forget my ratings. I have my Goodreads open on my iPad. I said 4.5 in my head. It's more like a 3.75 or 4. I said 4.5. I loved this series so much. An incredible amount of thought was put into these plots, and the plot as a whole, I'm going to miss these characters. That's very true. I do agree with that. However, a lot of it has now slipped my mind, even though I only read it a month ago. But the novella 12, it was nice to go back into the world with the characters. It takes place in the future. I think only like 5 years in the future. But honestly, not a whole lot has changed. Everything's very like similar personality-wise for them, and they're all working another appreciate something one way after you read it, and then thinking back on it later, like it's only been a month, if that, not even, and I'm like, yeah, it's actually not what I read it now in my head. It's funny. Okay. By the way, I was watching a Kendall Ray video. I love Kendall Ray, and she noted something about like subscriptions, how people had told her that they had been subscribed to her, and then they noticed that they were no longer subscribed. So check right now. Make sure that you are subscribed, and a ghosty, to make sure you see when videos go up at least 3 times a week. And then also, guys, make sure that you sorry, I'm getting the next book up. Make sure to check out channel memberships, which I have set up. If you have not yet, members get an exclusive video every single week, every Friday, a bunch of different things. I do requests over there. Pretty much, if you say you want a video, you will get it within reason, of course. But yeah, just if you want more content. Okay. Next book. Last month I went in order from my favorite to least favorite. I've already not been doing that, but that's okay. This next book I only got like semi-recently. This is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I featured this in like a come book shopping with me video, but just having it and getting it, I kind of knew it was going to be up my alley. It's like a YA gothic, kind of darker fantasy, so I kind of knew I was going to like it as well. The cover of this, like, I don't love faces on my books, specifically real people faces, but this cover is absolutely stunning. Like, while I was reading it, I just kept like stopping and staring at it, because I read physical, most of these books I read, actually that's not true, Bad Blood and 12 I read the physical copies, this I read the physical copy, but like, I'm actually obsessed, and I think it depicts the story really well, so let me tell you about it. But I just have to say that this was a 5-star read. It was all that I hoped it to be. goes missing, and it's this whole thing. But this book is just like so dark, and there's a lot of talk about like death and decay. Like there's this like other world almost, and it's like how do I even describe it? Like, yeah, just lots of talk about things dying, and the descriptive words in this, like I'm picturing things in this book now, like things would grow out of dying things, like flowers, but not necessarily nice flowers. And then like the smells that Crystal would describe in here were just insane. Like this book was so vivid in my mind, but this is a standalone, but I just enjoyed my time in this world so much. It was mysterious, it was dark, it was a little bit disturbing. Just, yeah, I won't keep going on, but 5-star. Okay, next. House of Hollow and this book were on my vault TBR, by the way. I've had this for a few years now. This and last month when I read the Irregular Society of Witches, those I both got at the same time, and I'm so happy I finally got around to them. So this is a witch's guide to fake dating a demon. Cute little cover. Written by Sarah Hawley. So this is obviously witchy rom-com, very fun, lighthearted. I was very surprised at the amount of spice and like smut in this book. This is definitely not a YA novel. Like just the way that the main character talked, yeah, very like raunchy, but it was good. Like it was also very funny, like done well, you know what I mean? So this book follows Mariel, yeah, it's like Ariel, but Mariel. So she's part of kind of a well-known, powerful family, and she's prophesized to be this like amazing witch, but she hasn't really shown that or come into that, and I think she's like almost 30 or in her early 30s. Yeah, but she's very good with plants and plant magic, but that isn't really like not well known, but no one really cares about like plant magic for some reason. I think it's super cool. But anyways, she also likes to bake, and one day she is using a little bit of magic to help her with a baking spell, and she messes up a word and ends up summoning a demon instead right into her home. And in this world, when you summon a demon, you have to like make a deal with one of them. It's like making a deal with the devil sort of thing. But because she accidentally summoned him and she doesn't want to make a deal with this demon, so now they're at like a standstill. So it's, and he can't go away. He has to stay near her. She doesn't want to give up her soul. So she's very Yeah, I don't think it's quite out yet. Okay, and next. This is an interesting one. So, well, this is the boyfriend. I literally, all of Freedom McFadden, all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, and this book dropped October 1st. It came out, so this is her newest thriller. If you don't know, Freedom McFadden is a very popular thriller writer. I've read like 7 of her books now. Like very, very good, fast paced, like nothing crazy. Like she's not like an amazing writer or anything, but they're a good time, you know, like a good thriller palate cleanser. If that makes sense. So I wanted to read this like a few days before October, so I was literally waiting for October 1st for this to come out on Kindle Unlimited, and I read it October 1st. I read it probably in a few days, decently fast, but I freaking ate this book. Okay, I feel like everyone has read this book in October as well. I have heard mixed things about it, but I've also heard, I feel like it's very polarizing. Like you either love this book or you hate it, and I loved it. I think this might be my favorite Frida book because after I finished it, I immediately ordered it off of Amazon. No, Indigo. This is an Indigo exclusive for some reason. But this is the first full novel of hers that I've ordered after reading it on Kindle, so I can physically have it. Even though it's a thriller, I would literally read it again. Like, it's weird, but I would. So, let me tell you a little bit about this book. So, the main character's name is Sydney, and she lives in New York. She's in her early to mid 30s, and she is having trouble dating. Like, she's been on all the dating apps. There's like this one main dating app that everyone's on, and she's just had like the worst luck. There's like a bit of a subplot of this one guy that she meets, and he ends up kind of like stalking her. And then she finds this one guy who seems perfect. I was gonna say something about him, but that might spoil something else. But oh shoot, everything I say I feel like is going to ruin something. But it does go back and forth between Sydney in modern times and her dating hell and a teenage boy from the past. And he's having these like thoughts and tendencies, and you're like, where is this gonna go? How do all of these timelines and people connect? And then you think it's gonna go one way, and then it goes another. I know some people are very good at guessing how thrillers are going to go. I did not. The twist in this was really, really good. I did not see it coming at all. I very much enjoyed the plot twist. Sometimes in books there can honestly be too many plot twists. Like, so many things are happening and you're like, okay, it's a little bit much, you know, and then Goodreads review on this, and I said it was like a little goofy, like in a good way. Like I did laugh a few times in this, so yeah. Okay, the next book I read was actually solely on audiobook. I do not have the physical book, so I'll tap on my Kindle. I did not read on my Kobo at all this month. If you would like to see this is my knee, by the way, a comparison video of my thoughts between my Kobo and my Kindle, let me know if that's a video you would be interested in seeing, because I still do use them both. But the next book that I read was not a Halloween fall book. It was honestly very sudden. Excuse me. So I had, if you don't know, Spotify. I don't know where in the world, but I'm in Canada, and if you are like the main account holder on Spotify, you get 15 hours a month. What's going on here? 15 hours a month of audiobooks, which is honestly really great. That's just another book that I can read per month. So I had already listened to, what did I already listen to? I forget. But I had like 5 hours left for the month. And then I noticed that Ali Hazelwood, one of my favorite romance authors, just came out, like it had just come out with a new novella, which was like 5 hours long. And I'll put the cover up here. What's it called? Two Can Play. The cover is adorable. I'm obsessed with the cover. And it got me super excited because I love Ellie Hazelwood, and it's about gamers, and I am a gamer, my boyfriend's a gamer, so it like all lined up perfectly. I listened to that. So this is, like I said, it's a novella, so it's like the third of the length of like a regular book. So you're never going to get that deep into a story or like really connect with the characters. I prefer novellas as part of a series because you're already in that world, you already know the characters, and it's just like a fun additional little story in that world. I don't love novellas when everything is completely new. It's a complete standalone like this one. I still enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much because of that. So this novella there are two like rival, what are they called? Like gaming companies, like companies who make games. And there is a series of games based on fantasy books. And so I don't really know how it works, but these two companies are trying to make this game, but they want to like work together. I'm not explaining this well. And the two companies end up going on this like winter ski retreat to see if they can get along and work on this game like cooperatively. And so the main female character, I'm forgetting what her name is right now. I just looked it up on Goodreads. Viola. She is a game designer, and there is a man on the other company's team. He's also a lead designer, and they met years back, hit it off, but then every meeting that they've had since, he's like very standoffish with her, like very much. It gives off the vibes that he does not like her, and she's like, why? Like she has a big crush on him, but she knows that he doesn't like her. So they go on this retreat, and they're kind of forced to, talk together. And comes out, like why, where the confusion lies. There's confusion, and her books are spicy, so there is spice. But yeah, it was very cute. I will leave it at that. But yeah, because it's a novella, I think I rated it 3 stars. This next book. I was so excited to finally read this. The next 2 books were on my TBR. So this is Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. This was a book that I'd seen on Book Talk and was like an immediate buy for me because the format of it is so cool. See, it's like, ew, it's like a fruit fly. Anyways, the format is super cool, and just going through it, I didn't know exactly what this meant, but it is a TV show transcript. So basically, this book, so there was a murder that happened 20 years ago that is still, or was still, unsolved. The murder of, oh, I thought his name was on here. Luke Ryder is his name, and he is the husband of a very well-off woman who is a widow. She's like in her mid-40s, and he's only 25, I think. So his murder has been unsolved for 20 years, and the widow's son ends up being a film, working in the film industry. So they end up making a docu-series on this case and like trying to actively solve it, which is really cool. So this book, like each chapter is an episode in this docu-series. So and the bulk of it is the transcript of the show. So it's like you're watching the docuseries, but you're reading it, if that makes sense. So super duper cool that way. What did I rate this? I think I only rated it 3 stars. I had really high hopes for this, and they did fall a little bit flat. I very rarely can figure out, what the twist is going to be, or like who the killer is, because I love whodunits. But this was kind of one where there were a bunch of people, and the killer was going to be like one of them. So one of my guesses did pretty much end up being the correct one, which was kind of disappointing. But as I say that, the actual ending as well, I don't even really remember, and I only read this like a couple weeks ago, so like that's not great that I don't even really remember the ending. But like, I don't know, it did drag on like a little bit, and the format of it made a couple things confusing. But yeah, I do praise it for the format of it. It made it a Eastwood is a popular romance writer, but this book was her first go at a like paranormal romance slash like fantasy romance. So this is a love story between a vampire woman named Misery. Her name is Misery. I am so obsessed with that name, Misery. It's so cool. And a werewolf. So this book, in this world, there are vampires and werewolves and humans, and at least where they live in North America, the three species don't really live interconnectedly. They all live very separately and don't really get along. So they have all these pacts and things to kind of keep the peace between these species. And Misery, her father, is like the head basically of the vampires, and she ends up being set to marry the alpha were, whose name is Lo. And the first time they meet is at their wedding, and he's like kind of almost disturbed by her. So she thinks he hates him, and she thinks he hates her, and she's now living in the Were territory, and there's lots of, like, if they're scared of her, she's trying to like fit in. They're trying to see if they can like get along, and lots of like political stuff, and like it was cool to see how Allie portrayed wares versus vampires. So that was a lot of fun for her first go at fantasy. I thought it was really good, lots of fun. Wasn't like my favorite ever, because it was Allie Hazelwood. It was definitely spicy, so be warned about that. Very spicy. Some weird things because like they're not humans. Nodding like a knot. Yeah, I was mildly disturbed. I'm just gonna leave that at that. 3.5 says some disturbing things, and the wife is kind of slowly sinking into insanity, and it was just a very, very good read. It doesn't look that long, like 350 pages, but it felt so in depth. I wouldn't call it like super fast paced, but I enjoyed it not being that way. I enjoyed the like slow slip into what this book was, because you really get into the story more, really fall like for the characters, you know what I mean, like you're there for the whole thing. And at first it felt very Frida McFadden vibes, but I'll be honest, her writing was like a level up, just so like very good writing. I didn't see any mistakes, like nothing to really point out writing wise. Every time I read this book, I was lost in this world. Like it's one of those books where I just got lost in it, which is really, really cool. The only thing I would say for this book, like it was a 5-star until the ending, until the very ending. Every single review I read on this book after I read it, I don't like reading them before, was that like there was basically no ending. It very much just like it was like a chapter ended and she forgot to continue writing. Like, so that did kind of ruin it a little bit. Like there were things I wanted to know about still, so that was kind of poopy. So I think I ended up rating it 4.25, 4.5, really just for the ending. And also the husband was quite infuriating at times. Okay, the last couple books I am still reading. This one I'll probably just quickly talk about right now. This is at the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. This is the second book to the Pumpkin Spice Latte. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I read last month, which was a very cute, fluffy, fall romance. I loved it. And this is the second one, which they're interconnected standalones. So this one is about Jeannie's friend in the town of Stars Hollow, I think it's called. Her name is Hazel. She runs the bookstore in the adorable little town. And there is a local fisherman who does like fishing tours in the town named Noah. And they've always been friends. But he's been like crushing on Hazel, but she doesn't, like everyone tells her that, but she doesn't believe it because he's like kind of a player, only sleeps with like tourists and stuff. But then Hazel finds this book in her shop with like a little secret message in it, and then her and Noah are trying to solve this mystery together and having a really cute summer because she's about to turn 30. And yeah, I say summer because this is supposed to be another fall book. Look, literally fall. But it pretty much, I'm not for it. It takes place in the summer, which is kind of misleading because I thought this was another like fall read. So I don't know why there are fall leaves on it, but I do love the cover. So that's kind of annoying. I don't know if it's gonna end in fall. It kind of seems like it will because her birthday's in the fall and she wants to like have a fun summer before she turns 30. But yeah, it's, I would say, friends to lovers. It is kind of weird reading like a friends to lovers with not a lot of build up in it, because I'm so used to like enemies to lovers and slow burns, but this is not that, and it was kind of refreshing, honestly. So I doubt I'm gonna be shocked at how this ends. So far I would say it's like a 4-star, and I probably won't bring it up next month, maybe like very briefly. But even though it takes place in the summer, I'm still very much enjoying it, and I love Noah. I think he's like my favorite male romance man character that I've read about, like legit. And finally, I've set out for myself to read at least one nonfiction book a month. And this is one that my mom actually got me because she loves this book so much. And I'm finally getting around to it. I'm only halfway through because this isn't really like a book that you just sit down and read all of it. It's one where you really need to, take your time with and try to exercise like what it's saying. So this is The 4 Agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom, written by Don Miguel Ruiz. I think he's written a bunch of books, but this is like his main one, or like the most popular one. It's called The 4 Agreements, and it is about 4 agreements that you make with yourself in order to kind of live a happier, more fulfilling life, not like lying to yourself or lying to other people. So the 4 agreements are: be